Hello, everyone. This is Aliyah, and we'll be talking about spirituality, philosophy, and some random things I find interesting. And this is my first podcast, and that's with air quotations. First podcast episode because obviously I just got my wireless microphone today. Yes, and we'll be using them today as well. And I have been meaning to start this for a while now, but I just haven't gotten the time. And honestly, it was so messy in my mind because I was thinking of the ways that I should prepare for my quote unquote podcast because because I thought that I should show myself, show my face, and it would require me to prepare my face as well. Not that I'm shy or anything, but I wanted to be presentable. So with this just black screen right here, I can definitely be myself. Yes. And you never know what I could be looking like right now. And that's not the thing that we would be talking about today. Okay. So for this first episode, we'll take it grandiose already. So, this is my take on spirituality, how we see the universe in general, and my notion of God, my personal notion of God. So, let me look at my notes first. And this is all from the topics of alchemy. I find myself very interested in alchemy. And which is weird because no, not weird, but also I guess in alignment to my professional degree or program that I graduated from in college, which is chemistry. So chemistry is very technical, right? Very physical, I would say. And alchemy is like the spirituality version of science, of the central science, which is chemistry. Anyway, that was a big tangent right there, but yes, so these are all governing alchemy, my takes on. Okay, so first of all, I would say that in this my my notion of God, I believe that I believe that we're all gods. Okay. I mean, let me put a pin on that because I'm not actually saying that we are God, but we're all gods in a sense that we're God's creation because we're made by His own flesh, right? As it's taught by Christianity, which I subscribe to. So we are God's creation, and so we must possess godliness. And how I imagine this is like, imagine a very big circle, and that's comprising everything in the universe as we know it, like everything. And outside of that circle is obviously nothing because everything in the universe is there within the circle. And you may also regard your existence as a tiny speck of dust within that circle, right? And although very tiny, you're still in there. You're still in that circle. So if you weren't included in that circle, then we then okay. I'm spiraling here. And I find it so funny because I'm talking about circle and I just said the word spiral, which is, circling around. Anyway, okay, so that big circle right there is God. Because for me, God is everything. There is nothing that is beyond him, beyond it, beyond her, whatever we want to call it, whatever pronoun it has, right? but let's call it for this, at least for this session. Okay, so God is all this circle, right? So since you are the tiny speck of dust within that circle, then you must possess a quality of a god, because if you weren't included in the circle, then it is not God, right? Because if you were excluded from that and you're part of everything, then God is not everything, which makes him not God, which makes it not God. What do I always regard? Okay, so this is just my automatic. For now, let's establish that I will be using him as the pronoun for God, but obviously, it God has masculine and feminine features, and yeah, this is just my automatic brain responding. So when I'm in the flow, I am using my automatic brain responses. So I will be from time to time regarding God as quote unquote him. Okay, but that doesn't mean that he's masculine, just masculine. So that's uh, a big label that we put on that. Okay, so can you follow me on that? That because God is all encompassing. And since you are comprised of that all encompassing, then you are God. So, for example, right? And I've heard someone talk about this. I think it was the Gem Goddess. It's Liana. She's a big YouTuber that I really, really adore. So, um, this example is like, for example, Shakespeare created his work Hamlet, right? If I'm not mistaken. Wait, let me look up on that. Shakespeare Hamlet. But just any creation in general. But yeah, William Shakespeare. Hamlet is by William Shakespeare. You have to forgive me. I'm not the best in literature. Okay. So Shakespeare created Hamlet, right? So this topic, this essence of Hamlet, it contains the essence of Shakespeare. But would you say that Hamlet is Shakespeare? Of course not. But you would be able to derive who Shakespeare is based on Hamlet, because that's his creation. Are you getting it? So, and I I I don't believe that I'm actually highlighting how revolutionary this insight was to me back then when I was just discovering this for myself. Because when you think about it, you are God because you are God's creation, but you are not God like capital God, of course. But you're the creator in a sense. You're also a creator. You're the co-creator of your life. So that's what we mean in spirituality when we say quote unquote you are the co-creator of your own life, because you literally create your own life because you are God. Because you belong in in this very grand circle we call life, we call everything, we call God. Okay? So that's my first point right there, that you are God. Small letter God. Okay? Okay. So, my second point is, and let's go back to my analogy, which is that large circle. So, I mentioned that everything is God, right? So that includes the good stuff and the bad stuff, depending on how um you would define good or bad, because at the end of the day, these are just all relative. What might be good to you might be bad to someone else, right? That's a subjective truth right there. So anyway, God is everything. So he is in the bliss, the happiness, the joy of life. But I also believe that he's also in the suffering, in the quote unquote evil. And so I really don't subscribe to the word enemy. Like like if you would mention Satan versus God, I mean, I more often than not just look at it like just one big God. God the good and Satan the evil is just one big God, is how I would perceive it. Because I don't really like the fact that I don't really like the notion that there is something that is beyond God. Because if there is something that's beyond what God can control, then I don't feel like subscribing to that kind of God who don't who cannot control everything. Would you? I mean, for me, at least for me, I wouldn't do that. It doesn't make me feel safe. But it also, so it's such a strong perception to look at God as like everything, both the good and the bad, right? So I went on a whole ass explanation right there. But my second point was everything and its opposite. I mean, and any one thing and its opposite are just the same, right? The thing and its opposite is just in one spectrum, if you would like to say it like that. Because and let me follow up on an example right there. So they say that they say that hating someone is not the opposite of loving someone, but indifference is, right? And that's true. But to me, well, loving someone is the opposite of hating someone. It's the opposite. But again, the thing and its opposite are just in one spectrum. Essentially, they're just the same. They're just in the I automatically my mind just automatically jumped into my native language because my mind is going, fast. But I'm trying to accommodate for a large audience right here, so I'm actually speaking in English. Okay, back to what I was saying. So the thing and its opposite is just in one spectrum. So love, which um let's put it in the positive, and then the hate, which is on the negative. They're just in the same spectrum. They're just, if you're a mathematician, they're just in the single number line, if you like to regard it as that. And the zero in the number line is the indifference. So because love and hate are just energy that are manifested in different ways. So when you love someone, you've got so much love to give that you're just radiating this positive energy for someone. But then if you hate someone, then you equally are radiating this energy towards someone, but manifested in a different way, right? So that's just the same thing for me. But but the zero, the indifference, is when you don't have an energy towards anything, like at all. So that makes it, yeah. That makes it the non-participant, if you like. So you're not participating, you're not giving energy when you're indifferent to something. So one example of this is also when you let something validate you, when you let when you let something validate you, you also let its opposite say who you are. So, for example, just like how you are moved with braces, and we're gonna be, because we're just humans. We have ego. We have ego that like to be stroked. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you let those braces, just let alone those braces, move you and validate who you are, then when pendulum swings on the other end, because it's just it all in one spectrum. You also let bashes move you, criticisms, right? You will let them define who you are if you let the praises of other people define who you are. So, it's I know it's a lot to uncover, especially if you're new to these ideas, which I was back in the day, but right now it's just I mean, even now I've been in the spirituality community for how many years now, and I still am flabbergasted whenever I talk about these things, because these these truths hold true, at least for me, because they changed my life. So the moral lesson here is, don't let yourself be sticked to the swing, the pendulum swing, right? Because when you let yourself be attached on the positive side, just like praises, once it swings on the negative side, you will also be affected. That's why in the spirituality community, they really I guess put a pedestal on detachment. When you want to attract something, you have to be detached. Okay, so which brings me to my third point. I don't know if I have a third point. I mean, that's essentially it, but all good things, have to be in 3 points. Oh, they all have to be 3 points. Like, you cannot give pointers and it's just 2 points. So I have to make up something on the spot. So my third point is, hmm. What is it? My third point. That was a whole seconds of silence right there, because it just literally wasn't, my brain was just point blank period. Or maybe that's the point, right? That's the point, that after everything, the point is that there is no point. So we go back to the second point, which is the thing and its opposite is just the same. So the point is that there is no point. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah, the point is, I guess at the end of the day, whether you are or you aren't, it's just the same. Oh my god, that's so nihilistic. Was that the right word? Okay, I'm just blabbing right now. Like, it's So I guess this is my sign to sign out. But yeah. So, oh, let me just give this third point, which is, at the end of the day, you choose the truth that you want to uphold, or let your life be led by. Because when it comes to spirituality, there are many notions, many perspectives, and insights that will come to you. Whether, just for example, at the top of my head, life is short, so do whatever you want, or life is long, so you can be any version of yourself that you like. You can switch it up and mix and match, whatever. So, and these truths are all truths, and it's just a matter of what kind of truth will you subscribe to, like what makes you feel good about your life, and from that, live on. And People are gonna get it, gonna get it. If you know, you know. So that is it. Thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed this, even though my hands are all sweaty right now, and you know, it's so cold in here. I feel like, and it's just the jitters. I want to say the stage jitters, but really, there's no stage in here, or is there? Is there? Anyway. So yes, thank you for listening. Oh, this comes there comes really a time, right, where the YouTubers just, oh my gosh, thank you guys, bye bye. Then for the nth time, bye bye, and they're just gonna yap again, then bye bye. And that's me right now. See, I'm yapping again. Okay, and that's why this job is gonna be perfect for me because I love yapping. Okay, this is it. This is legit. Thank you everyone for sticking with me until the end of this video. Um, I'll talk to you soon. And, you know, just live your life. I love you. This is Aaliyah, and we'll talk soon. Bye bye.